Okay, I will call to order.
Your microphone is off.
I will call to order once I get everything together here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome as I call to order the April 18th organizational meeting of the Leasing Corporation. This meeting was properly advertised in the Pensacola News-Journal on April 13th, legal notice number 5663560. We will begin with the adoption of the agenda. Mr. Superintendent, are there any additions or deletions to your recommended agenda?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. There are none.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Slayton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Our first item is item A, resolution number 2023-01, organizational resolution. Is there a motion?
I'll move the adoption of the organizational resolution of the Escambia County School Board Leasing Corporation, resolution number 2023-01.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Slayton. Thank you, Ms. Hightower. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Thanks, here. Anything that you need to bring forward about this?
I just want to let you know that Mr. George Smith, our bond counsel, is available for any questions, Mr. Chair, and he can be at the mic if you need to ask anything about either of these resolutions.
Questions from board members? Yes, Mr. Adams.
I believe they covered all I need to know at the workshop.
Thank you. Seeing none, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. The next item is item B, resolution number 2023-02. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move the Escambia County School Board Leasing Corporation, resolution number 2023-02.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there a second?
Kevin.
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
We caught that.
No discussion. Seeing none, please vote.
Moved it in a second, didn't it?
All right.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Lastly, item C, resolution number 2023-03. Is there a motion?
I move the adoption of Escambia County School Board Leasing Corporation Resolution Number 2023-03.
Thank you, Ms. Hightower. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Slayton. Has moved and seconded. Any discussion? Slayton, you need... I'm trying to get him to turn. Seeing none, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We'll now move. Is there anyone to speak at public forum about this organizational meeting? Seeing none. This concludes, Ms. Hightower.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we would like to have someone kind of explain to the public what we just did. We had a great discussion on it at the other meeting, but it might be informative for the public to understand what we have just done and why we did it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hightower, Mr.
Thank you.
Superintendent. Mr. George Smith, our bond counsel, has his hand is in all of these resolutions, so I'll let him, if he would, go ahead and explain what we're doing and why we did it.
Thank you. I'm George Smith. My law firm is George A. Smith, PLLC, and as Mr. St. Cyr just said, I'm your bond counsel, and my hand was in all these resolutions, as was Ms. Odom's, and Mr. St. Cyrs and members of your financing team. What we did today was create a leasing corporation, which is kind of the more modern way to do the financing for your new school at Myrtle Grove. Thank you. I want to call it Myrtle Creek, and I can't shake that from my mind for whatever reason, so I apologize. But the new addition that we're doing at Myrtle Grove, between the school board resolutions that you adopted earlier this evening as a school board, and now the resolutions that you adopted as a corporation, that is solely, the sole reason that we have the corporation is to facilitate the financing of that school. And we create the corporation pursuant to statute, and this is the way, the most common way that it is done throughout the state of Florida. And the Florida School Board Association acted in this role since the early 90s, and over the last decade and a half, various school boards around the state have created the corporation, as you did tonight, pursuant to statute. And I believe that you're the last one to do it. And in fact, Ms. Messina at the School Board Association stated that the School Board Association supports this course of action. And so with that, you've gone through those 3 resolutions for the corporation, where you organize the corporation, you assume the responsibilities that were previously held by the Florida School Board Association, and the 3rd resolution was to approve the issuance of the new debt for the new facility at Myrtle Grove. And I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's what that was for. The corporation has no other responsibilities or duties other than to facilitate that leasing and that financing of that new facility.
I have no questions. I just want to thank the gentlemen that have been responsible and bringing us up to date and helping us to understand this, because it's not what I would consider a normal activity. And you've done a great job of letting us know what we did, why we're doing it, and now we just go about building schools for kids, and that's the main purpose. That's the purpose of this, and that's the purpose of the half-cent sales tax. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask a question in terms of the life of the organization. Will it automatically be dissolved at some point, or does it go on in perpetuity in case other bond action is needed in the future?
We would typically keep it current, which what that requires is filing a current report, annual report with the state Board of Corporations every year. Is a short form. Anybody who has a corporation in the state, this leasing corporation is a not-for-profit corporation under the state statute. It's a 2-minute task done electronically every year. And then whenever you reorganize your school board in November and select your chairman each year, you do that as a corporation as well. The corporation president is the same as the school board chair, and those are automatic. And each year we do that in November, and we make sure to file the annual report before April 1st of each year, which is a state deadline. And typically you would keep it in perpetuity, and we keep that current. If there came an occasion where you were no longer needing to finance any schools, that would be an appropriate time to consider whether or not that was a necessity. But at least during the life of the debt that we're approving, we would need to keep that in existence.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just want, this deal will be a $40 to $45 million deal for the rebuild of Myrtle Grove Elementary School, underwritten by Raymond James, and they're represented here today by Rick Patterson and John Ockelberger. John is actually a alumnus of Escambia County Schools, Escambia High School. So wave your hand, John. I think he played ball for Mr. Ross.
All right, John, your dad was the principal at Brentwood Middle School? That was my uncle. Your uncle. I worked for him. He was, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Very good. Then you will appreciate what's happening with it at this point. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Gentlemen, we appreciate the travel that you've done and the time you've put into it. Your assistance and your expertise are very much appreciated. Thank you. All right. This concludes the organizational meeting of the corporation.